All right, cool. We're going to go ahead and get rolling. So, welcome to just a really brief workshop for you guys today. We probably won't take up more than 20 minutes of your time today. This is not going to be some crazy long piece. We just really wanted to jump on and really, more than anything, share an update on what's going on with our store so that you can get a grasp of how it works. And, we've been, if you're in our network already, you've been sort of receiving these updates along the way, but we wanted to do a little bit more in-depth detail dive into it so that if you've looked at e-commerce as a potential business model for yourself, you can start to see how it works. Because one thing's for certain, if you look anywhere on social media, right, you see this stuff like, oh, I'm getting e-commerce sales, I'm doing this, that, or the other, right? So, but a lot of times you're not seeing behind the scenes of what's going on. And we kind of want to open that door for you, peel back the curtain a little bit so you can get a grasp of, is this a real legitimate business? And is it something that is a fit for you? So at any rate, we'll go ahead and kick this off. So this is going to be about Amazon and cash flow system with Amazon. So this is realistically, I think, and Aaron, you might agree or disagree with me, I think this is like one of the biggest opportunities that we're going to see in our lifetimes. E-commerce, and quite frankly, we're a little late to the game. We're late to the game. And I don't know if that's just because we're like getting old and we don't, quite understand like the nuances of it, or just, we're so focused on what we're doing inside of real estate and our other ventures that sometimes you're in tunnel vision. And we didn't really look at this closely. And once we did, it was like an epiphany. So what we're going to show you is how you can get monthly returns of 7 to 10%, sometimes more, using Amazon as a platform to sell things.
I'll add a comment, so we got started on this, and my neighbor actually, he was a real estate guy and a franchise owner in the restaurant space. And when COVID hit, he started his own Amazon store, not doing it quite what we're doing here in a more passive approach. He was definitely active, but the numbers that he was sharing me with and what he figured out was amazing. Like, his business was literally mandated shut down. He was, one of those affected, and he didn't skip a beat by doing this. One thing that I want to point out too, and like tie back into cash flow, and actually one of our other partners brought up, how this correlates back into notes. A note's nothing more than a contract, right, that provides monthly cash flow. And so, whether you purchase cell phone tower leases or account receivables, lottery or casino winnings, this model is very similar. We have certain contracts and agreements in place, whether you use your IRA or not, and we'll have to touch on that later to be able to do that. But there's a contract that provides monthly cash flow. And so to Ben's point, yeah, I mean, we're a little late to the game, but we're also massive action takers. And with what you see in the real estate portfolio or no portfolio, it's much quicker to get this up and running, cash flowing, and get a return back on your principal. So that's kind of what we're case studying going through next. And so I'm excited to share our results on, our store that's been active the longest thus far. So that's the only comments I really have, Ben, to help tie it together.
All right, cool. And by the way, guys, I see a couple of questions in there already, but if you have some questions, you can type those along the way and we'll try and wrap those up at the end so that we can just keep moving. So real quick, just in case you don't know who we are, if this is your first time connecting with us, my name is Ben Fredericks. You can connect with me on Instagram at Odell Barnes REO. That is my primary IG spot. So you can connect with me there. I'm an entrepreneur. I love growing businesses, and primarily I'm a real estate investor, and I bought and sold several hundred properties over the last 3 years, buying properties in bulk and auction. And then Aaron and I are partners in Noteworthy Publishing. It's a note investing and education and networking company. And so we're really passionate about cash flow. That's why we're a part of that. And, this is just an added cash flow piece, and which is why we're bringing it to the table so that you can learn more about it. And, I think cash flow is like, they're probably my two favorite words, So I don't, it's just, I almost live and breathe it. So, but, and then what we're doing here is we're just helping investors really increase passive cash flow with e-commerce stores. This is something that is going to make money while you sleep. And that's like the biggest thing that you could get, right? So we don't have to constantly have our eye on it. It's just happening behind the scenes, and we're going to go into the details on that. Aaron?
Yeah, cool. So, yeah, pleasure to be on here. It's been said, we're partners in Noteworthy. I started a company back in 2012 called Note Tools, and started really introducing back, annual note conferences, did it through the Noteworthy Investors Summit. And so, my background's really in software and marketing. One of my mentors there, Harry Dent, Dan Kennedy, both taught me finance, economics, marketing. I've, been in the note and investing space for, 15 years now. Pretty much done majority of most things except for really commercial, other than commercial leases in a trampoline park that I helped get going. So, my passion is really on cash flow and, working and helping other people, and also leveraging, the use of your self-directed retirement account. So my, days are spent now with as a minority shareholder, a directed IRA. And so, we got a lot of great things to share with you today, and some cool strategies. So, love working with Ben, and he's just a massive action taker. And, we're going to pull back the curtains, if you will, and show you what we got going on.
By the way, I'm sorry, I didn't have time to put up all the pictures of your kids. If you don't know, Aaron's got like 18 kids. So I was just like, oh man, I was running out of time putting this together. And I was like, sorry, tell them all. And I apologize. I just didn't have the time to get them on there.
So we have 4 girls and 2 boys, and yeah,
they're beautiful kids. You can't see them right now, but trust me, they're beautiful kids.
It's all good.
All right. So who is this for anyway? So this is really for investors that want a done for you business. I mean, that's the reason why we really looked at this, because we just don't have the time to sit down and, look at Amazon and try to figure out what products are, best suited to sell, where the margins are, and all that kind of stuff. It's for investors that want monthly cash flow. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Investors that have capital and credit. So this requires an investment. So if you don't have capital, we do have something that is an option, but if you're not in a space right now where you don't have capital or you don't have credit, this probably isn't going to be for you. But it doesn't mean that you can't partner up with somebody that that does. So that you have to think outside of the box if you want to get something accomplished. And it's also for investors that are looking to diversify, right? So, things ebb and flow no matter what investment it is you make. So you want to have different streams of income as you can. And this is just an additional way to do that. So what exactly is Amazon automation? This is a big, sexy term on the Instagram and Facebook and all that, right? So a simple breakdown is if you go to Amazon and you buy some pots and pans for, let's say, $150, our team will go and buy those pots and pans from a supplier for $100, and then they'll ship it to the buyer that Amazon produced, and we keep the spread minus a little fee to Amazon. It is simple wholesaling. If you think about real estate, you're finding a deal, finding a buyer for that deal, and then just putting it together. That's all you're really doing. Simple arbitrage. And the best part is you don't have to use any of your own money to do it. Like, you can literally use your credit card company's money to have them buy the product, ship it, you reimburse your credit card, and keep the difference. And Amazon is going to pay out every couple of weeks, so you're not going to accrue any interest on your credit card. So you're basically using the credit card company's money for free, right? You're even actually, if you do it right, you're going to get some money back too, in the form of rewards or travel points or whatever. So again, you keep the spread minus Amazon fees. Amazon's getting paid regardless on every single deal. They've provided this platform. They've provided all of the traffic, which I'm going to show you later is just a stupid amount of traffic. And, they're getting their little piece on every single deal. So what we're talking about here is brick and mortar versus simple click and order. It's not like a Dr. Seuss thing. It's just letting you know, like, the traditional way of doing business is you need an office, you got employees, you got utilities, insurance, all this overhead, right? Inventory. Here we have none of that. So we have an entire team running it for you. You do not have to manage them. They're handling everything. They're handling all the returns, all the customer service, everything. Basically, your entire involvement in your Amazon store is probably going to come down to, 15 to 20 minutes a month, realistically. It could be more if you're obsessive and you're constantly looking at the store, like I've done for the last 4 months. But that's just time wasted. So, but at any rate, your total involvement is really not going to be all that much. So how much money can you make? Well, you can Google this answer, and it varies, but any Amazon drop shipper can make anywhere between 1,000 to 50,000 a month. It really just depends. But a lot of people, there's an important sentence there. A lot of people tap into competitive niches and then they simply quit before it happens, right? So, and this tends to happen on the people that try to figure it out on their own. So I was in that circle. So when the pandemic started, I tried to do a Shopify store on my own. Complete disaster. I had no time to look at the products. I didn't know what products to look for. I was trying to figure out, okay, can we ship products from China? And then, it was taking 12 weeks to get any products from China. And then in the midst of all that, I got myself banned from Facebook ads. So with no explanation as to why, they just cut me off and that's it. And, the Lord giveth, the Lord taketh away type of situation. And that was it. So I was out. I thought, all right, e-commerce is not going to workable. I'm just going to stick with real estate. I should have known better. That's what I'm going to do. And that's it. But this is about having, a team involved, the people, the who to do the how. And that's the piece that I didn't have in the beginning. Was instead of looking at saying, all right, how do I do this? I should have asked the question, all right, who can I get to do this for me? And so that I'm completely passive. Thank God we have good friends that kind of showed us the light on this, that said that is possible and you can do it. So, but overall you can expect 7 to 10% net monthly profits on your sales, which is pretty stellar.
Let me make a comment there real quick, Ben, that you were saying about, thank God we had some friends, that did this. And one in particular friend was instrumental in my life that got me started in real estate, in my early 20s, that we met and we're in a mastermind together. And, he and Ben subsequently are in one together now. But Ben pinged me and said, hey, do you know our buddy Mark is doing this? I'm like, really? And so I immediately texted him and we hopped on the phone and he walked us through his store and gave us the stats. And so, much like the note business or any cash flowing business, like it's all about, being able to trust people and see what's going on and, have like the proof literally is right here in front of you, and so as much as like we want to take other people's word on it or, we hope it would be good, like we're just living proof, sharing what we did. And that's what our friend and colleague did for us. So we're just like sharing in the abundance, and where things are going. And I think that's a key part of it, of relying on your network.
Absolutely. So on the left here, you're going to see like some store. We had our team send us like some screenshots for some stores. I'm sorry, they're a little fuzzy. It's just what they sent me. But at any rate, you can see on the right, this is our actual store. So I wanted to share with you our actual numbers and sort of what's been going on in this. And I think this went up through May the 23rd. Q&A box is kind of in the way, so I can't see. But we've had almost 6 figures in sales in the last 7 days. So what I'm going to show you on the next slide is how that kind of progressed. So in the beginning, Amazon gives you like if you were ever in a fraternity, you got a probationary period, right? So they got to make sure that they're going to rush you and have you as a member of the fraternity or sorority or whatever. And that's sort of the process that you have to go through with Amazon, because they want to make sure, number one, that you are a legit seller. Like you're not putting, fake Louis Vuitton bags on here and, trying to sell a bunch of knockoff crap, and that you can handle the customer service. You can handle any returns that come up, any issues or complaints. And so they want to take the time to really get to know you as a seller. So what you're going to see here is how that progresses through that first 120 days. So this is just a little bit of a clearer snapshot. So again, you can see on the left, on that particular day at about 3:30, we had $2,300, $2,400 worth of sales. But what you see here is we had 3 days of over 20K in sales, right? So what happened was, why you see a drop off there is because we ran out of credit. It wasn't like, oh, the store stopped selling. It was like we had to pump the brakes and say, oh snap, hang on a second. Amex is calling us saying you're not used to putting this much on your card in 3 days, let alone 30 days. So we got to pump the brakes a little bit, and you got to pay some of this back. So we had to call the team and say, listen, thank you, but you got to slow it down just a little bit so that we can catch up and recycle that money back through. So this is why, the credit aspect is important to help you scale. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But when you see, like, this was very exciting. Like, we saw that result and we're like, oh my God, this is fantastic. And then you have to realize that, look, this is going to be a process. So Aaron and I know that, 90, 120 days from now, another 120 days, Amex is going to know us better. They're going to understand our business model. They're going to see we're paying this off every 2 weeks, and they're going to start to increase that limit as the weeks and months go by. So it's a progress. It's just a process that you have to take. So, but if you look here in the middle, you'll see, like, back in April, we were having like little days. We started this store back in December. And so we were having little days, maybe 1,000 here, up to 4,000, and then, taper off up to 4,000. And then all of a sudden, boom, it just, like a rocket ship, is when they let us loose after that 120-day mark. And, in the beginning, you're not really going to see anything happening. So, if you decide to do this, my best advice to you is just pretend it doesn't exist for the first 120 days. You'll make yourself nuts trying to watch it. Oh my God, are these guys scam me? Nothing's happening. It's not the case. It's a process. So, but this is, what a lot of people are not going to show you is, like, the ins and outs of that. You're going to see only the sexy thing. Oh my God, this store had $500,000 worth of sales. Well, yeah, that store has maybe been in business a couple of years, and you can get to that point, but you have to be smart and pragmatic about building the credit along the way.
It's been like a new hot thing in Clubhouse, I've noticed, for those of you that have gotten on there, everybody sharing their Amazon success. It's like, 250K this month, $1 million this month. They're like, yeah, but you've been in business for like 5-10 years plus now.
Yeah. And you could do that if you're liquid, right? If you're not depending upon credit, if you're just independently wealthy and you've got, a couple $100,000 just sitting there, you could easily do that. And then, or go to there's a number of ways you could get creative, right? You can go to your bank if you had a couple $100,000 sitting in savings and say, what can I get in terms of a line of credit against this? So lots of different things that you can do. But we're just giving you the reality of our situation, saying, all right, listen, this is our sort of our max where we're at right now, and we have to grow from there. This is just this is like the back office of Amazon. So you can see, like, the dashboard. So if you have your own store, you'll have access to this. But you'll see here, this is from this morning, actually. So right now we have about 82K in our balance, and about 73,000 will be paid out at the settlement end, which will be, I think it was June 5th. So, but Amazon will trickle stuff out along the way. So, we can take that in dribs and drabs if we want to. And, but again, in the beginning, they're going to sort of hold back your money to make sure everything is functioning properly within your store. All right. So the big reason I wanted to do this is I wanted to compare it with notes, right? So, and show you the comparison between notes and rentals. Since I'm a real estate guy, this is how I looked at it. And maybe this will provide some insight for you. So this is one of a recent note statement that I have for about 6 notes. So what you can see here is I invested about $57,000 to buy these notes, all right, and to create them. This is my business. That might seem impossible to you, but it's reality, All right. So I bought these notes. I bought the properties. They were REOs for about 57,000, and then turned them into, as you can see, over $100,000 worth of notes. And these pay me about $17.90 a month, assuming they're performing, right? Like I think there's one on here that's not performing, one or two that is not paid for this month yet. So, but my average ROI on this is about 42% when they're all performing. All right. So not too bad, right? Like I take, money and basically double it and collect the cash flow in between. And that's why I love the note business. It's a lot of fun. Like I'm just creating paper, for the sake of creating paper. So if we look at an Amazon store, I can cash flow 5,000 a month if I'm getting 50,000 a month in sales, right? Plus or minus maybe a little bit. And so I had to look at that and say, okay, how many notes would I need to have in order to equal that? And the answer, I would need 10 more notes. And if I'm just averaging what my acquisition cost was, I need another 95,000 just to acquire the property to create those notes. So it's just a simple comparison, right? So now there's advantages and disadvantages to both of these. Like it is just there's no one right way to do this. This is just multiple different cash flow streams and ways to invest. Let's look at rentals, because I do have some rentals, right? So I've got some rentals in Iowa with an old friend of mine from high school, and we purchased those for $264,000. You can buy a property pretty cheap in Iowa in some towns. So, and with all in down payment and closing costs, we had to put about 56,000 in, and our net operating income after all expenses is about $1,500 a month, 18 grand a year, and that's a 31% ROI. Not too bad. Like it's not the worst thing. It's not a lot of money, when you put down 56,000 and you're getting 1,500 a month, it's not incredibly exciting, but we get certain advantages with rentals, right? We get depreciation, and, we can refinance and pull out that phantom income, and lots of different things that we can do with it. So it's not that I don't like rentals. I love rentals. They've helped me grow a business. So, but again, if I'm looking at Amazon, again, to generate the same thing, I'd have to have 14 more rentals and another 132.5 in cash for down payment. I mean, so that's a significant amount of money to have to put down just to generate the same amount of cash flow, that I could do with an Amazon store. So, and if I had that 132.5, I could be generating about 10 to 13K a month on my Amazon store. All right. So hopefully you're seeing the differences there. So again, this is going to be just real quick, guys. So I'm just going to get into some FAQs that we've gotten as we've talked to people about this. So why don't you just have a bunch of stores on your own? Well, Amazon only allows you to have one store per household. That's it. So I couldn't even get my wife to have a store if I wanted her to, right? So, and I would want her to, but I can't, they just won't do it. All right. So you're limited in terms of what you can do. This is the big question. Isn't Amazon getting saturated with this? Well, remember I talked about the stupid amount of traffic that Amazon gets? 2.5 billion monthly visitors. Now, I don't know if this doorstep looks anything like your doorstep. My doorstep looks like that at least once a week. At least. There's always something being bought in this house. Like we're just consumers. That's it. And 2.5 billion monthly visitors translates to every American is going to Amazon about 7 or 8 times a month to shop for something. All right. So that tells you something. The next closest competitor is eBay with 940 million. It's like not even close. So it's a huge business. It's a big opportunity. So is Amazon getting saturated? Not a chance. And quite frankly, not everybody can do this, right? Not everybody has the capital to invest in the business. Not everybody has the credit to be able to do it. So it's a limited, amount of things. And most people, I think I read this the other day, Aaron, most Americans have like $8,000 saved. Like that's it.
Yeah.
So nope. If that's the average person in this country, you're going to be above average, right? So in order to invest in something like this, and there's not a lot of people that fit into that category.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. It's like why a lot of people retire after working 30 years to have to keep still working even though they retired.
Yeah.
You know.
Who owns the business? You do. It's your business. So you'll have your own LLC. You control it. So you'll do an initial like 2-year contract with the service provider or the team that helps you run the store. But after that, if you're like, hey man, I got this figured out, like, and I want to go run my own store, you can totally go do that. All right. You can totally use multiple credit cards. We do, so Amex is figuring us out. And so I have another card that I've added to our file and it just runs through there. How do you view the activity? Again, you'll have access to, your own backdoor store on it, your basic, and then also there's a mobile app. So you'll be able to get your own, you'll just be able to check the store on anytime that you want, wherever you are. As long as you got an internet connection, you can check on what's going on with your store. Is there a renewal fee? Yes, they will. If you do decide to stay with the team that runs your store, they're going to charge you another $5,000 in 2 years. All right, to stay on with them. And what are the risks? I mean, like any business, there's going to be risk, right? Like Amazon could decide, hey, we don't need drop shippers anymore. We don't, which I would find that hard to believe. That's how Amazon was built. I mean, so it's a big part of their business. The economy could tank and nobody's buying anything, so there's always going to be risks in anything that you do.
Your credit, you got to maintain your good credit.
Yeah. If you don't have the discipline to pay back what you got coming in income, don't do this.
Yeah.
When you get a $70,000 deposit, it could be tempting for the wrong person to be like, oh, time to go to the club. No, you got to pay back what you have and just enjoy the cash flow. Right.
What did you text me last? I think it was last Saturday or Sunday. Or like, oops, got to put it on vacation mode. Maxed out our 3 cards.
Yeah.
That's what we got to do. I was like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. So
that renewal fee is paid to the service provider.
Yeah.
So yeah, same service provider. They're the ones providing the fulfillment and management of it. So then I'll get into that more in a bit.
That's right. So the biggest question is, what does this cost and how do I get started? The store build out and setup is $35,000. Financing is available, and we can talk with you a little bit about that. There also is a revenue share piece. So it's like, what's in it for them? Well, they're sharing revenue with you. So the 7 to 10% that you see is based on you getting 65% of the net profits that the store generates. All right. The team is keeping the 35%. That's how they run everything. They have teams that find the best products, list all the products, take down the products that aren't selling, handle all the emails that come in from customers, all the questions, all the customer service, all the returns, this product is broken. They handle absolutely everything on your behalf. So that's what's in it for them, is the 35%. Again, there's a 120-day probationary period, and there's 0 profit share for the first 90 days. So they're going to charge you $500 a month for those first 90 days. After we hit on our 4th month, I think our profit was like, what was it, Aaron? It was like $1,000.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, or something like that. So we had to send them $350 roughly.
Yeah.
So
like $500-600 is all.
Yeah. So anyway, that's the breakdown of what it is to start your store. Financing is available. You do have to have at least a 620 FICO score and 40,000 a year in income. And the terms are, there's 5 years with no prepayment penalties. But guys, important consideration here on financing. This is an unsecured financing. So what does that tell you? The model works. Yeah. Like if there's guys funding stores at 35K a clip, it works. So they know it's going to cash flow. They know the process. They understand it. And it's a revenue generating machine. So it's a no-brainer for them if you have those couple of requirements. If you want to do it or you have additional follow-up questions where you want to talk and chat in private, you can just go to eComVestors.com/call and set up a call. And we'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. And look, we're completely transparent. Like I don't think I gave you any fluff here. Like I want to let you know what to expect. Like the first 120 days, they suck because you don't think anything is happening and you don't kind of see what's going on behind the scenes. But once it turns on, it gets really, really exciting. And that's why we're here sharing it with you. In fact, we didn't really even start sharing anything about this until our store started producing because, Aaron and I are, our name is really the most valuable thing that we have. And, we don't want to just share anything with just anybody. And I think if you've ever followed us, we don't just share anything and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, there's an added bonus. So these guys, in addition to running great e-commerce businesses, are very astute in the Instagram game. So if you decide to do a store today, I'm going to get them to throw in a growth campaign to your Instagram account, assuming you use it. If you don't use it, start one and start using it. All right. And this will get you the coveted, 10,000 follower mark so that you can get the swipe up feature, which has literally made me tens of thousands of dollars. So, and there's a bunch of great different things that they can do with it. But whether you're a note investor, real estate investor, the biggest bonus that you can get from this is that you can start to build a list of people that you can market to for whatever it is you do. So if you have a note to sell, get on that swipe up feature. You can start, sharing stories that allow you to really build upon, your business and doing some cool things inside of it. So if anybody gets started today, we're going to have them add that on there for you, which is like a $3,500 value. So let's see.
I'll add a couple of comments. Is that okay, Ben?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Yeah. So one thing is like, we're not here to we're not managing your store. Like we're just sharing an opportunity with you here and putting you in contact with the service provider that we use. And so, there are certain steps and things that you need to do on your own that we can share our story and what we've done, but you got to open a bunch of different accounts and, you got to get your LLC going. And so there's steps, but the provider will hold your hand and walk you through it. But the sooner that you do it, the better. Some people have done this and they'll take a month or two to follow the instructions. Don't do that.
Yeah.
They tell you what to do, then go do it. Do it now, because remember, the clock starts ticking the second you get all those accounts open,
Yeah.
So there's other aggregators and stores that Amazon's plugged into that you got to set up accounts and link your credit card to and stuff. So you got to do all that stuff. So do the work, don't delay that, and get going on that. So, what's in it for Ben and I as far as this, we're just sharing what we do, and we have a de minimis, referral fee. That's all we get. We're looking to build up value so we can, build our brand and, potentially even do it ourselves or get into the service space. But, without putting the cart before the horse, we got to go through this whole process and work with great people and get other people to do it, see what success they have. And so one step at a time. I'll address the IRA piece real quick. So you can't use a credit card, right, with an IRA. You can use a debit card if you have checkbook control. You can use your IRA to invest in the store. You can have a debit card down there to do some purchasing, but you're going to tap out. That's the liquidity that you have. So there's no credit because you can't use credit because that would be a disqualified transaction to your IRA. So you can't do that. The other thing that I'll say is you yourself or your spouse or any other disqualified party to your IRA cannot be the household of the store. It has to be a non-disqualified person. So it could be your brother, or a cousin or another business partner that's not related. They would have to be the ones who have the household. So that's a key thing. So if your IRA is doing the investing, you are a disqualified person, can't be the household owner. Okay. So that's how that works. Because remember, the IRA's got to make an investment into something. So it's got to like make an investment into an LLC or with somebody, and then they go in and invest in the store. So like you can't use your IRA funds and send to the service provider because you have an agreement with them, but their agreement is with the household that's operating the store. So you got to have the IRA invest into something. And so if that's something you want to do, like set up a call and we can go into more detail on that, because there's some moving pieces there. Got to make sure that you do it correctly and don't do a prohibited transaction.
Yeah.
You want to hit on some other questions there?
Yeah, I see. How much time commitment does it require to initially set up? It would take you a couple of hours. Like it's not much. So the biggest thing is, they have, Amazon has to have you go through a process to get approved. So, and you're kind of dependent upon them to send you some stuff in the mail. So you kind of got to wait that part out. That'll take about a week, but they're going to send you a postcard, and then you have to have an online video chat with somebody from Amazon, show them your driver's license next to your face. And, they're kind of sticklers for going through that process. So, but all in all, I mean, time of like effort of like things to do. It's like setting up an LLC, setting up your vendor accounts, all online. Literally, like I was done within like 90 minutes. It literally doesn't take that long at all. So
you got to do all these sales and use permit.
Yeah.
Here, like these are all the states that you're doing business.
Yeah.
So they help do all that too.
That's right. And yeah, we have a team that will basically do all of your sales and tax permits, and they'll also do all of your sales tax reporting, so that this is like completely passive. Like honestly, you just have to show your docs at the end of the year to your CPA, and that's what they do. Tyson, is it 35K upfront and a 65-30 split? Yes, that's correct. Is there a checklist to get started? Yes. So once you commit to doing your store, they'll provide you with an entire checklist of everything that needs to get done. So, and then if you need help along the way, they're there to help, and we'd also be available to answer any questions. $64 question. How do we find competitively priced products to sell? You don't. The team does. They have a whole team that's scouring the internet to find deals that are being sold and that are trending. So let me give you an example. So one of our first like hot products that we sold, probably like 75 or 80 of them, was a battery backup for a garage door opener. Never would have picked that in a million years, right? So, and some of the first things we were selling was food coloring. Don't know why. Maybe it's because of Easter. I'm not sure. Like, and so it's kind of weird like that. And now we're selling, some camping stuff, some summer stuff, and like right now is realistically is probably the time to do this store. And this is not like some sales pitch to say you ought to do it, but by the time your 120 days is done, what's coming up? Holidays, right? So to get on board now, I think would be a smart play if you can, and we'll help along the way with any questions that you got.
Let me add this commentary to piggyback off that to Scott's question. So we're not like, you got to let them do their thing. Like you're not putting products into the store. You're not sourcing it. Like this is a passive cash flow income opportunity. Like, and so you're not responsible. That's why you're paying them, and they take 35% of the revenue. Like, like we're putting up the capital and the credit. And so we get 65%, and they're running the business so we can be passive, and they're taking 35%. So like, you're not responsible for sourcing product, and please don't. Like you could mess things up. You'd be like, oh, well, my wife said this, or my daughter said this is real cool and trucker hats are in style. And you're like, let's do that. Like, don't do that. Like, we thought that too. And they're like, absolutely not. Like, we're doing it. That's why paying us and we get a cut because we're the ones providing the service.
Yeah, I believe their exact words were "butt out." Just kidding.
Yeah.
But that's the gist of it, is like, you don't have to do anything. So Richard said, it looks like the only thing we're doing is supplying the capital. That's exactly right. That's it. So it's producing a cash flow for you, and you don't have to lift a finger. So trust the process and know that these guys know what they're doing. They're very effective. So, all right, guys. Well, unless there's any other questions, we'll go ahead and cut it off. Like I said, I didn't want to make this be some big, long thing, but great questions. If Sarah, I see you have your hand raised, but if you want to put something in the Q&A, go ahead. What's 35K for? 35K is so that they're front end loading a lot of the expense of setting up the store with their team. It's going to be a while before they get any 35% from you, so they have to pay the team. I mean, that's a big piece of what it is. And also, they're providing a service, and they got to get paid. That's it.
It's in the agreement. Like, it spells it out in the
Yep.
agreement, like what it is they're doing and what they go for. So if this is something you're interested in, next steps, and you want further info, you can connect with Ben on that. Go to the eComVestors.com/call, and we can get that to you. There's no secret sauce to this. It is what it is.
Yeah. My brother, Beyond. Thanks for joining, my friend. Good to see you. Yeah. So if you're interested, go to eComVestors.com/call, and that's it. So we're actually at risk for losing 35,000. Everything's a risk. Like, I mean, if you did, I can't even think of an example of what would have to happen for you to lose 35,000 without ever making any kind of sales in the store. I can't think of what that would even be. Like, you're selling Nazi paraphernalia. I just don't know. And the team's not going to do that. So they're going on there selling tried and true products of what they know is selling. So
let's hit this last one from Richard on non-authorized transactions.
How's my card? Oh, great question. So basically, when you go to the vendors that they're going to have you set up, you're going to enter in your card information, but all of your card information is protected except the last 4 digits, right? So that's all they're going to be able to see. So you're going to have a vendor list, and then a list of the cards that you want to use, and all of those numbers are protected. So they will never see your full card number. And then remember, they only make an order when somebody on Amazon places the order. So they're not going out and buying a bunch of unauthorized things. They just can't do that. So they can never see your full private details. All right.
Is eComVestors your business or the people who would be running the business for us? So eComVestors is a brand that we're operating as we venture into automated e-commerce cash flow. You would have an agreement directly with the service provider, not with us.
All right, cool. All right, guys, we'll let you get back to your day. Aaron, good to see you as always, my friend.
Pleasure. Thanks, everyone.
Catch you later.
Bye-bye.